What's up, guys? It's your boy Brian Ash, aka the Handsome Fister. I'm sitting outside chilling on this finally nice sunny day on a Sunday. I was out back throwing some water balloons with D, doing that a little bit. So anyway, a few days ago, I'd asked people on the Handsome Fister Facebook group page, whatever, to tell me what you wanted to see in a video. And someone wanted me to talk about my job, the automotive industry. So they want to know pros and cons and stuff like that. So I'll break it down a little bit for you guys. So automotive industry is one of the wildest industries in the world. Manufacturing in itself is wild in itself. So for instance, there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons. A lot of pros is you can make a lot of money. You can make a lot of money in the automotive industry if you play your cards right, you work hard, you show up on time, you work your full shifts, you work overtime, you work the holidays, the weekends. For instance, like I'm gonna be gone again for 4th of July, going up to Toronto to do a job for the company, and I probably haven't been home for the 4th of July in 20 years. Maybe 15, 20 years I haven't been home for the 4th of July. It's been so long that I don't even remember the last time I was home to watch fireworks on the 4th of July. Memorial Days, Labor Days, Christmases even, New Year's, name the holiday. In the automotive industry, you work it. That's a con. But the pro in that con is you get paid an extreme amount of money to do that. Because it's double time. Most companies, it's double time plus, the 8 hours for the holiday. So technically for 8 hours, you're getting paid triple time to do something that you would do on any normal day. So pro and con right there. Another con is you work a lot of hours, a lot of weekends, 6-7 days a week, when the job is at that critical stage. So you work long hours, you work a lot of days in a row, and so you get tired and you get worn down, you get beat up, and so that kind of sucks because you get tired and it's but I mean, shockingly enough, your body adjusts and gets used to working the hours and doing that stuff. So a little story real quick. So I was working in Mexico for a company, and we were working minimum 12 hours, 7 days a week, and I was there overall like 16 months. But when I came home from when the job was over, we were slow at the shop, so we were working like 40 hours. So I had gotten so used to, in the last like year and a half, to get up in the morning, go to work, come home, eat real quick, take a shower and go to sleep, that when I was working 40 hours, I would do the same thing. So I'd get up at my normal time in the morning, I'd go to work, I would, jam out my day, which was, 8 hours, it seemed like a half day. And then I'd come home, I'd take a shower, I'd eat, I'd lay on the couch to watch some TV or whatever, and I'd pass out. I mean, I wasn't even tired. 8 hours wasn't nothing, but because my body got so used to that schedule, that's just what it did. So it took me a while to break that. Pros to the industry. The technical side of the industry is awesome. So you're always up to date on the latest and greatest technologies. You're always up to date on all of the new tech and new programs, new softwares that are coming out in any industry, because usually we're the first ones to get it. The coolest thing about the job is, especially in the auto plants, robots do probably 80 to 90% of the work. So you get to see robots do some pretty cool ass shit, which is awesome. Like, I still get excited when we build a job, we power it up, they go through all their debug, they do, the PLC and robot guys do all their magic and wizardry, and then when the first part gets built, like when the sparks are kind of flying a little bit if the weld guys don't do their job right. So when the sparks are going and it's going through its motion for the first time, like, I still get excited like a little kid. Like, that is one of the coolest things I've ever witnessed at any job that I've ever had in my life. The pro is you're almost like a rock star. Like, you get paid to travel. So I've seen many parts of the world and country, you know, US, Canada, Mexico, that I would not have seen had I not been in this business. And I got paid to do it. Paid flights, paid travel, the hotel's free, food paid for. So I mean, and I got to like go to a lot of cool cities that I probably would have never went to. Like, I probably would have never went to Kansas City, Missouri. Now, granted, Kansas City is like a huge city and it's an awesome city, but at the same time, like, that's not some place that I would particularly say, oh, I'm gonna go vacation in Kansas City. You know what I'm saying? Or you know, certain parts of Mexico, you're like, I'm not gonna go there because I heard it's dangerous or whatever. So, you know, you wouldn't go. But I mean, when you work there, you know, like, you learn to avoid certain things and certain behaviors. So actually, it technically makes you smarter too as well. So like, when you get home, you know, like, I noticed things and behaviors that I saw in Mexico that I knew were bad, and so I knew to avoid them in the US. So that always helps too, right? So in the con, another con, like another big con, is that it is very difficult on your family life. The automotive industry is very difficult on your family life. If you watch my previous video, the work-life balance, you'll get a more in-depth on the work-life balance. But you know, you tend to work so much, and then, you know, other things lack, but you have a responsibility to do your job. And then within that responsibility to do your job, like, you long hours, like I've said, and you're so focused on what you got to do and what you got to do the next day that it's hard to turn it off when you leave work. So a lot of times you bring your stresses home from work with you, and you don't mean to, but you're, you know, under pressure, under the gun. So you gotta, you know, you're trying to think about what you got to do the next day, the night before. So when you get to work the next day, it's easier and you become more successful. And the industry is like ruthless and cutthroat. So, you know, there's rules in the industry. So like, you got to be on time all the time. Now, there's some companies that are kind of more lax than others, but there's other companies that are so ruthless that if you're late like 3 times in a month, you're gone. So that's just how it is. So you know, you learn to go to bed earlier, you learn to try and get your sleep, you learn to try and eat, you rest, so you're always on time and you're functioning. So how would I break down the automotive industry in a whole? So basically, in the region of the country that I'm in, which is Michigan, which is considered the automotive capital of the world, unless you go to school and go to college, you're going to work for a company that does something for the automotive industry, whether you're building parts for the automotive industry, you're building equipment for the automotive industry, or you're actually working for one of the big 3 auto plants. So there's like, everything revolves around building automobiles in the state of Michigan, unless you went to school for something else. And so, excuse me, so there's not much else you could do. So, you know, you're kind of like born into it. So I got in the automotive industry when I was like 16, 17 years old, and I've worked, you know, 20 years in the automotive industry. I've been in the automotive industry 20 years. So it's ingrained in me, it's part of me. I've worked a lot of hours. Like, technically speaking, if you calculated all the overtime I worked, I probably have 35, 40 years of experience. Because, you know, there were some weeks where I worked 95 to 110 hours in a week, and it was consistent. So that's like almost 2.5 weeks in one. So, and I've made a lot of money. a lot of money to where I can afford to provide for my family and provide a very good life for my family. So there's that, you know. There's not much that, you know, in the beginning it was a struggle, to be honest, because, you know, you start off making nothing, and then you work your way up and you work your way up, and you work more hours, you grind, and then so eventually it turns into something else. So but it's also ruined a lot of relationships with you know, friends. I don't have many friends besides the people that I work with. Shout out to all the guys I work with. I love every single one of you, and all the guys that I previously worked with. You know, when we run into each other on a job site or whatever, it's almost like we didn't we haven't been apart. And even all of the, you know, big three guys that I've worked with, you know, you guys have all pretty much been really good to me, so I appreciate every single one of you guys too. But it ruins like marriages, relationships with girlfriends, relationships with kids, because if you don't learn how to do the work-life balance, then your whole, you know, it just struggles, and everybody suffers. And most importantly, you suffer, because you're missing out, you're losing opportunities with your, you know, loved ones and kids. And so it's I can't complain about anything. You know, like, I can sit here and bitch and talk about how bad the automotive industry is because, oh, I work too many hours, or, you know, I worked every holiday. But I mean, you do what you have to do to survive, and so, and to be able to afford a better life for your family. So I have been able to afford a better life for my family to where everyone's comfortable. But you know, it's a struggle too, because I missed a lot of things. I've missed birthdays and dance recitals and baseball games and basketball games, and, you know, for my kids, and, you know, missed anniversaries with, you know, ex-wives, and you know, so I mean, you miss that stuff. But I mean, that's just the way the industry is. And so how I would sum up the industry is, I love it and hate it. If that makes any sense, I love it and hate it. Like, I love it because of everything that it's done for me, and the experiences I've had, and the people that I've met, and you know, all the good times that I've had, and even the guys who picked me up during my bad times. So that's been great. But I also hate it because it pulls you away from your family. It pulls you away from, you know, old friends. It pulls you away from your kids. But I mean, everybody has got to be strong enough to be able to deal with it. And some people are, some people aren't. I've been fortunate that most of the people in my life understand it, because a lot of them worked in it. My father worked for Ford Motor Car Company for 31 years. Granted, he didn't have to travel much, but until he retired. When he retired, he started traveling the country with me and the world with me. So shout out to my pops for, you know, teaching me a lot, and always, you know, being down to go on a road trip with me. So that's all I got, man. It's your boy Brian Esch, aka the Handsome Fister. If you want to get in the automotive industry, be prepared to work a lot of hours, be prepared to make a lot of money, be prepared to spend a lot of money, and be prepared to deal with the fallout of not being around your friends and family. Peace.